So my research topic is about the anti-China nationalism and the entering of state society relation in Vietnam in this context. The next one, we also know that an anti-China sentiment in Vietnam are often driven by both historical legacy, because we have shaped by a long history of struggle against China. And on the other hand, we have contemporary geopolitical dynamics that influence these sentiments, go strong and stronger. And the second one, in our analysis, we focus on two cases of this new wave of anti-China nationalism in Vietnam. That is the 2008 bauxite mining controversy. The controversy centered around the government decision to allow large-scale bauxite mining in the central highland of Vietnam, with Chinese company involved in key aspects of the projects. The second one is the 2018 special economic zone controversy, which is revolved around the government proposal to establish 3 SEZ in strategic location, which offering task-intensive and favorable business conditions. But the proposal became highly contentious due to several key issues linked to China. Why we choose these two cases of anti-China nationalist movement? Not only because these two cases are the start and finish the new wave of anti-China nationalism in Vietnam, but also the two cases share a lot in common and make them differ from prior significant anti-China protest movement, especially in 2011, in 2014, and all 2016. That because the two they say in common because they remain in law politic domain, and the second one they emphasize the picture of domestic politics, and also they conclude with specific consequences. So this is the research issue. We figure out that between 2008 and this decade, the political system of Vietnam remained predominantly dominant, with the state control over society becoming stronger and stronger. During this period, the involvement of civil society is declining. However, the Vietnamese elites opposed the bauxite mining project, but their efforts were unsuccessful in 2008. However, in 2018, the protest movement proposed a rapid government response, and leading to a significant policy adjustment. So that is the research issue. So why this happened? So we are building an analysis framework based on the neoclassical realism approach, which is we define external level, and in the domestic level with 3 mediating variables that influence the foreign policy of Vietnam, which is we define the 3. One is domestic politics. The second one is legitimacy of the state, and the third one is the anti-China nationalism. Based on this framework, we have some finding of this of our analysis. Is in the causal relationship between the foreign policy responses and external environmental threat. We figure out that the independent variable remain consistent. That means, despite tension in bilateral relations, the fundamental nature of Vietnam and China relations remain unchanged, and which is Vietnam diplomatic policy, particularly in the economic spread, continues to exhibit a bandwagoning with China priority, which is in 2008 is China foreign policy priority to natural resource seeking and EPC contacts. And in 2018, China's priority in foreign policy is the Belt and Road Initiative, and also the successful SNC experience. While the independent variable is unchanged, the dependent variable was different, which is in 2008. Despite the black flags, the government proceeds with the project but makes some concessions only. And the plan was called back and additional environmental support were promised. However, in 2018, the legislation of ICSEAS was postponed, and significantly effort from advance the project persists, with Wenzao selected as a pilot mechanism. However, the process has been limited today and had nothing to the day on. So we are finding that the dependent variables were changed in line with the change in the intermediate variable, which is domestic politics and also legitimacy of the state remain important, but anti-China nationalism has become increasingly prominent and surpassing the other factors in shaping Vietnam foreign policy decisions. In contrast, state nationalism and legal regional legitimacy are further strengthened when states make concessions in society in the name of anti-China sentiment. That means this really pursue and divert attention from concern about the state performance legitimacy. So we in focus on the three mediating variables, we figure out that the anti-China nationalism in 2008 with high-profile elite Wenzao who spoke out for the controversy, but this way of anti-China nationalism didn't turn into demonstration and stay in the large city only. However, in 2018, instead of speaking out publicly, Vietnamese elite communicate with the government through a personal channel, and this anti-China nationalism grew to be a nationwide protest rather than confined to larger city only. And so this anti-China nationalism had some influence into other variables, which is domestic politics and also the legitimacy of the state. In the field of domestic politics, we had the 2008, which state-owned enterprises play the role of the iron fist of the economy, and the General Secretary of the state mentioned both projects 3 times in joint statement with China. But in 2018, we figured out a very different strategy of growth from the state that turned from the state SOE into locally development, which Prime Minister mentioned a lot about how Da Nang City become a Silicon Valley of Southeast Asia, or Dalat become the little Paris of Asia. At the same time, the General Secretary data of Vietnam, Nguyễn Phú Trọng, never expressed his determination to pass the law, but has always requested careful consideration. As the responsibility for the draft, the law draft, Ministry of Planning and Investment Minister Nguyễn Chí Dũng have emphasized that there is no word China in the draft of the law, which try to put the anti-China sentiment out of this topic. And so at the legitimacy of the state, we figured out that in 2008, the controversy topic mostly focused only on the performance legitimacy of the state, and in a very indirect channels challenges. However, in 2018, the controversy topic of the SAD law for questioning performance, nationality, and legal rational legitimacy of the state at the same time. So the ability to focus on all the three panel of legitimacy of the state, make it a very quick response of the state. So our finding is that in the realm of high politics, the state greater joy or greater authority in domestic affairs, but demonstrate reduced capacity in foreign relations. Conversely, in the context of low politics, the state exercise less authority domestically while accessing more influence in its foreign dealing with external partner, in this case with China. Therefore, in order to maintain its legitimacy, the Vietnamese state typically take a more active role in low political domain like economic or cultural, and make concession to the voice of anti-China nationalism in society. That is my very brief for my research. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Professor Kang. I now invite our discussant, Professor Pralov, to have some comments.
Okay, thank you very much. Two interesting papers, right? The first one is about the economic, but the other one is about the anti-China. Yes, for the first speaker, Miss Antonia, I read your paper, 60 pages. You sent in the Google Drive, so many. So I think, if you read the papers, I think it's very complete. The papers, and then your presentation also is great with the some ideas about. But you mentioned about the method, qualitative and quantitative, and your presentation mostly about quantitative. You present about the data with the chart and everything. Maybe I would go to the qualitative, maybe. Yeah, the ideas about the qualitative that you didn't mention in your presentation. For example, you mentioned about the diversity, diversity or differentiation between three countries, Singapore, Vietnam, and Philippines. Mostly talk about the differentiation, but instead talk about the differentiation. Maybe you also can mention about the similarity, similarity, but you didn't mention in your presentation and mostly in the papers, because we are Asian, and then maybe there are some similarity in terms of crisis. For example, in terms of crisis, how Singapore, Vietnam, or Philippines develop their how they're trying to create, for example, how the government attract FDI from others country, because we are maybe there are some differences between the state, like Singapore more developed or Vietnam with the state more dominant, and Philippines with more more liberal, but there maybe you can put some ideas about the similarity in this case. That's the first one. And then you mentioned about the social welfare, especially, but you didn't mention after COVID. After COVID is relatively different, because every country, including Indonesia, maybe, or other countries, race to trying to develop their economic. How this race in competitiveness, in competitiveness, how you attract the economic development, and then develop how can develop the social welfare to the society. to the society. Yeah, you mentioned about literacy, you mentioned about some others, yeah. But how you describe this? And then maybe in the contemporary era, actually now is time of maybe China is dominant. China investment, China FDI. You can show put some ideas not only about the market liberalization, but maybe there are some other ideas like the colonialization. China, the colonialization. Because our perspective is Western perspective, but now China from Asia is there can change the market liberation or the colonialized ideas, because the colonialized mean changing from Western to Asian, like something like that. I think that's my short comment for first paper. And then the second one is anti-China nationalism. This paper is talk about the two paradox of anti-China that can success to develop nationalism in Vietnam and changing the state policy, right? If I read your papers, I think about because you mentioned about the bauxite, in bauxite cases and other mineral, but how Vietnam develop resource nationalism? How in Vietnam, resource nationalism, the idea about resource nationalism, is that some kind of idea to protect the resource that Vietnam have? I just use Indonesian example for it, because Indonesia also have mineral and invest by China, and the locals and also some NGO thinking about that this resource nationalism is belong to us. So we have to talk about not only to mining, but also how to produce to the end product, something like that. So this is the idea of resource nationalism that can develop anti-China, because the resource is not belong to export. That's good for tax, for income countries, but how to the people, something like that. So the idea of resource nationalism in Vietnam. And then this paper show for me is showing about the relation between Vietnam with China. It can be said that strong above but fragile below. The relation between state and state is very strong. Very close, and because Vietnam the same communist, for example. But in the locals is fragile. There are some. I think it's quite the same with Indonesia. They are fragile in the below. People do not understand what's this investment from China, but they can speak up. So that's why you said about the online, so how you develop the online in the online in terms of fake news, because in Indonesia online is strong, but sometimes there are so many fake news. So, but this can develop many some ideas about the anti-China. So I think the online also how to develop the fake news in Vietnam, And the last one is about the role of Chinese design Huaqiao. Chinese Huaqiao. In Indonesia, I don't know, in Vietnam, they have become the bridge to counter to the bridge or to counter the conflict between Indonesia and China. The Huaqiao is also important. I don't know, maybe in Vietnam also maybe the same. Okay, that's all my comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please stay on the stage.